Show dialog and hide dialog. This we have used quite a lot. So show dialog accepts the inputs. Inputs has to be an object, and object has a very uh, elaborate set of properties that you can put. We will talk about that when we will get into the uh, dialog component. So, or rather, let me show you that now. What are the possibilities? Multiple things, and it expects a few things from here. So it is expecting ID, screen, app ID, props, okay, and comp. You can specify a comp directly. You can specify a content. Suppose you want to open a dialog with a simple text. You don't have to basically create a screen for that and then display. For example, when I'm saving, I want to show dialog. Um, and remember, this dialog is a modal dialog. So when it is open, you cannot do anything else. Message is not modal. Dialog is always modal. When you are opening this dialog, no more actions can be done. And you can open multiple modal dialogs, but one over the other. So it creates a stack. The last one is always active. You can keep closing the dialogues one by one. You can have multiple, like I said, dialogues open one by one. But only one dialogue will be active at one point of time. Okay, so when I'm showing a say progressing kind of message, I don't have to create a large screen. If it is a simple text, I can text or a small HTML, I can put that as a content. That's it. We can use it. There are scenarios where we have used it. Okay, now hide dialog. Hide dialog accepts two arguments. The first one is a callback, then second is the ID. ID of a particular dialog input that we have opened. So if I do not specify that, all of the open dialogues will be closed. If I specify the ID, then only that dialog will be closed. So if we have opened multiple dialogues at any point of time and I don't want to close all of them, rather a particular dialog, then I must set an ID first of all in that show dialogs input and then use that ID here in hide dialog so that only that corresponding dialog is closed. Now, how to set that ID dynamically? You can have it created by your own on your own, or you can use the get unique ID, get unique key function that we discussed earlier. Then you have register event handlers and register event handler. These functions not very useful. I mean, not used quite often, but you can use them to add event handlers on a particular component. Similarly, notify event. If you want to notify a particular component about a particular event, you can do so. But all of these are already taken care of by the API, EM API. So very rarely used. Okay, observations not that useful. Encrypt. Okay, so now if we have something available and I want to apply a MD5 encryption, this is a utility function. Convert a buffer into base64. Normally this is useful for converting a image source into base64 equivalent. We use that. Something about payment gateways, Razorpay. That's it. So Common has so many things. It has taken almost an hour to explain, but this is one of the most commonly used API that you will have in your coding. So if EM used occasionally only when you have to emit a particular event, but Common is the most common API that you will use.